Good morning and welcome in on this Wednesday. It's Dan Hardenbrook. Glad to have you along as we take a look at your latest local news from around the region. It is your Newberry News Update on M123 FM. Your Wednesday news headlines brought to you by your two-time award-winning local newspaper of the year. It's the Newberry News. Let's check out this week's front page headlines. Ice, ice, baby. The storm's chaos is still being felt. New car seat laws take effect starting today. Play it again, Sam, with the band boosters and their instrument drive. Snow totals continue to climb. The DNR will answer viewer questions coming up on WNMU TV 13. And how to rely on the forest for food. Those stories and more available inside this week's edition of your award-winning Newberry News. It's available now. In your latest local news this morning, Cloverland Electric Cooperative says that service has been restored to 25,000 that were without power from the most recent ice storm this past weekend. Restoration efforts from Cloverland crews and mutual aid teams have now topped the 25,000 mark. However, according to Cloverland, there's still over 2,000 without service heading into the day on Wednesday. Crews wrapped up restoration efforts after another busy day yesterday, going on their mandated safety rest at 11 p.m. last night. Approximately 1,700 meters remained off for another night. The remaining outages, totaling 2,060, were widespread in numerous locations across 16 different townships. Crews cleared 60 to 100 trees for lines per day since restoration and cleanup efforts began, and progress has been steady but challenging. Cloverland said in a statement on their website that they understand the frustration and major inconvenience of the prolonged outage with uncertain restoration times for some. However, they want to assure members and residents that their dedicated crews are supported by excellent aid crews who remain focused on restoration while facing another storm situation which could be moving into the area on Wednesday. You can follow those latest updates and information from Cloverland Electric by going to cloverland.com, checking out the outage center on their website. The Mackinac County Sheriff's Department and Mackinac County 911 and Emergency Management say that local warming centers will remain open through Wednesday. Warming centers are offering power, heat, mobile charging stations, limited water refills. Those warming centers include the Garfield Township Hall on M117 in Engadine, the Clark Township Community Center in Cedarville, the Little Bear East Arena in St. Ignace. The Cedarville location will be open until 11 p.m. this evening, while the Garfield Township Hall and Little Bear East Arena warming centers remain open 24 hours. Get updates on warming center information and other details pertaining to the storm by going to the Mackinac County 911 and Emergency Management Facebook page. Multiple closures at the Mackinac Bridge due to falling ice over the past couple of days sent a domino effect that stretches all the way back into Sault Ste. Marie. Multiple gas stations in the Sault area were experiencing a shortage yesterday. The Mackinac Bridge closures are causing a fuel shortage at Sault Ste. Marie locations due to disruptions in fuel deliveries caused by earlier closures of the bridge, and multiple people staying in the area because they cannot travel. Fuel supplies at local gas stations in Sault Ste. Marie had become limited. Some stations are running out of fuel. The bridge did reopen last night shortly after 7 p.m. Michigan State Police 8th District Public Information Officer Lieutenant Ben Ekela said that the Michigan State Police are working closely with local officials and fuel providers to help expedite deliveries and restore normal fuel availability as quickly as possible. Authorities are continuing to monitor the situation and will provide updates to the community as supplies stabilize. In the meantime, residents and visitors at different locations in Sault Ste. Marie and across the eastern UP are being encouraged to conserve fuel when possible, limit non-essential travel until normal supply levels are restored. Engadine Consolidated Schools has recently taken part in a very special state-funded study. The one-of-a-kind statewide school facilities study included Engadine among over 2,500 different buildings that have been inspected as part of the program. The Michigan legislature created the statewide schools facility study in 2022 as a way to determine the actual cost of all Michigan traditional K-12 school buildings and their abilities to meet basic health, safety, and wellness standards. In 2023, educators statewide formed the nonprofit School Finance Research Foundation to oversee that study. The foundation study built on a 2018 School Finance Research Collaborative, which for the first time was aiming to determine the true cost to educate a Michigan student by including buildings. The study provides district-level costs for each school evaluated to meet basic facility standards. The study only provides costs for meeting basic standards for things like HVAC, roofing, electrical, and plumbing. Study does not include administrative, athletic, playground, or transportation facilities, as well as any additions, renovations, or remodeling. It also doesn't include replacement projects like sidewalks or buses. The extensive statewide review included 2,534 buildings, including some in Engadine, over a 2-year period. The report provides districts a roadmap that will let the Engadine community and others as part of the survey determine what or if any investments they need to make to ensure students continue to have a safe place to learn, grow, and thrive. Overall, the goal is for the statewide school facilities study to become an essential part of the ongoing school funding discussion at state and local levels. In a statement, which is available on the Engadine Consolidated Schools Facebook page, Superintendent Andrew Alvesteffer says that as a district, they'll work with the school board and community to determine how Engadine might utilize the roadmap, help them continue to provide a safe, healthy learning environment, and prepare students for success and careers. Engadine Consolidated Schools is getting ready to kick off a welcoming event for their earliest Little Eagles. Engadine hosting a preschool open house that'll be Tuesday, April 8th from 5 until 6:30 p.m. at the Engadine Preschool Room. All children who are 4 years old on or before December 1st are encouraged to apply. Paperwork includes official birth certificates, proof of income, and immunization records. If you can't attend the event but still want registration materials, you can contact Engadine Diane Miller at 477-6313. Engadine will offer busing for students. You can get more information in this week's edition of the Newberry News. I'm Dan Hardebrook. That is your latest local news this morning. It's your Newberry News Update on M123 FM. Your Wednesday news brought to you by your 2-time award-winning local newspaper of the year. It's the Newberry News. Learn more and subscribe online at mynewberrynews.com. Time now to check in with sports this morning. The Red Wings are running out of time to make this year's Stanley Cup playoffs. Red Wings currently on the outside looking in of the NHL playoff picture. Suffered a setback against the St. Louis Blues last night. Final score in overtime, 2-1. Cam Fowler with the game winner. JT Compher had the Red Wings' only goal. Detroit barely above the average mark, 34, 33, and 7 on the season following the loss in St. Louis. A massive day in college basketball's transfer portal, especially for Michigan and Michigan State. Both teams losing key players of this year's tournament teams. Spartans guard Trey Holloman has announced that he is entering the transfer portal. Holloman was a big piece for the Spartans, averaging 9 points and 3.7 assists as a junior, helping the Spartans to the Big Ten regular season title. Finishes his Spartan career after an 0-for-10 performance in an Elite Eight loss against Auburn this past weekend. Holloman was expected to be among a key returning core that could help the Spartans get back or possibly even further next season. Be joined in the transfer portal by former top prospect Xavier Booker, former 5-star recruit, also announcing that he's answered the transfer portal. Redshirt freshman Garrick Norman, the third Spartan of the day, to announce that he is leaving East Lansing. Michigan starting point guard Trey Donaldson is also on his way out. Donaldson, who will have average assists, helping the Wolverines 16, announced that he's leaving the school a day after Michigan had announced they're bringing in another guard from North Carolina. Your latest local weather forecast for the day today. Here's what you can expect. We'll see partly cloudy skies with a chance of showers, likely, possibly mixing with snow. Highs will be in the mid-30s with east winds 15 to 20, gusting as high as 40 miles per hour. New snow and sleet accumulation could total around an inch possible. Wednesday night, snow showers likely, breezy, southwest winds 15 to 20, gusting as high as 30. Thursday, chance of rain and snow mix, mostly cloudy, highs in the low 40s. Friday, mostly sunny, a high in the mid-40s. I'm Dan Hardenbrook, and this is your Newberry News Update on M123 FM.